This is the Black Conservative Liberal coming in with the second episode of this podcast. And today's topic is going to be possibly something more controversial than the first episode, which was I don't really give a shit about Ukraine, and neither do you. I had to ask myself, do I really want to talk about this second subject? Because I know that I could get bullied. I could possibly get canceled. However, it's only my second video, and I don't think that many people are going to find this to possibly try to cancel me. And if you do, then you really need to get a life. But the topic of the day is going to be Lia Thomas should not have been allowed to compete in women's sporting events. I'm going to repeat, women's sporting events. So before I get into the topic of conversation, though, I'm going to ask that you please consider giving me a like, a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down. I don't mind. I'm all for political discourse and conversations. If anything that you disagree with, please drop a comment. I am all about civil discourse. I certainly do not. It's not my intention to offend anybody. And if I do unintentionally, if you can explain how I offended you, it's not my intention to insult or offend. And I'm going to really, I have to keep in mind that even though Lia is a grown transgender woman, she's also somebody's child. So I'm going to be extremely respective of the fact that this is somebody's baby. You know, she's just really popular for a particular reason right now. So today is March 23rd. I don't know when this video is going to go up. I'm going to try to get it up this evening on the 23rd. However, I can't make any promises, but let's go ahead. Like I said, let's talk about Lia. So when I first found out about Lia, this was before that she made it to nationals, or before they had the national tournament. And the clip that I saw, she won the heat or the race by at least one lap. There could have been two, and it was such a farce of a video. It's just like, wait a minute, how is this a competitive event when one person is clearly better than everybody else that's in the pool? Now, it's one thing that if a person is better just because they're more skilled, they've trained harder, but it's another when the person that you're losing to, or that's kicking everybody's tail, is a man, and you're competing against women. Now, I know that the argument will come out, well, she ended up losing a few meets. Do you think that she really lost those meets because she wasn't capable of winning them? Really? Nah. If I had to put money on it, she probably lost those events because she saw the backlash. She saw the fact that when she won at the nationals, when she came in first place, nobody applauded for her. They didn't applaud for her when she crossed the finish line or slapped the wall during her meet. They actually waited until the second place person finished the meet and the crowd began to cheer. They didn't clap for her when she was on the podium. I believe that I even heard a few boos. And I feel for her because she's the one in the spotlight, and I can't put myself in her situation because that's not my life. Her struggle is not my struggle. I can't. Being a black man in America is hard enough. I'm not going to intentionally make it more difficult by doing anything. But she's set out on a path that is, I guess, maybe 20 years from now, she could be considered a trailblazer. Maybe she could be considered a hero in the LGBTQ plus, I hope that I got that right, community. But in the rest of the world, well, I'm not going to say the rest of the world. Let me back that up because I don't want to overgeneralize. But for, I'd say most people, what she did was complete bullshit. And as a parent of a daughter, now granted, my daughter is she's no longer competing in athletics, but if my daughter, actually, I don't want to make it, well, you know what? If my daughter were on a team and she lost out to someone, a spot, if she lost a spot to someone that was, that had gone through male puberty and is now feeling like a woman. So they're allowing this person on the girls or women's basketball team. I would have been pissed. especially if I knew that that particular person was on the boys team or attempted to be on the boys team and couldn't cut it, or was just an average to below average player. Men are and women are different. Men are physically stronger. That is irrefutable fact. Now, if you want to, throw out the examples of women bodybuilders or whatever, I would counter that by saying, how many natural born women have transitioned to men and competed with men at a high level? Not just in the same field or on the same swimming pool. I don't remember the person's name. And I'm going to pull it up and put it on the clip, but I'm going to put it in this video, but there is trying to get my terminology right. Just excuse me if I mess up. There is a transgender man. So, he was born a woman and transitioned into a man. Saw him with his shirt off, got the six pack, kind of looks like a swimmer, but not really. This particular person, like I said, I believe competed with the men and didn't do anything. And I'm going to fact check myself and make sure that I put the graphic up on the screen as I'm talking. But they didn't compete because they're not capable of competing with men in certain sports. Now, if you can tell me a sport where a woman, and it doesn't have to be a trans woman, just a woman period, would be better at a sport, please let me know in the comments, because I've racked my brain trying to find out like what sport women could compete with men in, no matter if they're trans or not. Just women are better at men at this particular sport. Drop it in the comments. I don't think it exists. Well, I take that back. Maybe archery, something that's not when you're not physically competing against somebody else. Archery takes skill. I was going to say golf, but no, a woman golfer would get crushed by men golfers. Tennis, definitely crushed. Serena Williams she's come out and said that a guy would destroy her. So if Serena Williams, who is like, to me, an amazing physical specimen, if she's saying that she is not able to compete with men and she's the best ever, one of the best ever, arguably one of the best ever, why do we think that a transgender woman who was born a man would not only compete, but beat and win and set records against natural born women? That makes absolutely no sense. Now, if you see Lia, she's about 6'3". I was going to call her a tall drink of water, but I'm going to be respectful. 6'3". She looks like a man, like from the back. I mean, even from the front, she looks like a man. The only thing that was feminine about Lia was the swimsuit that she had on. Now, this is really a problem with the NCAA. I can't fault Lia for doing what she did. Like I said, she might be, 20, 30 years from now, people might look back and say, hey, she was a trailblazer. We're going to put her freaking picture on a coin. I doubt that's going to happen. However, I can't fault her for taking advantage of a system that was put in place. She did what she was supposed to do. She went out there and she won. She's in the record books. She's in everybody's name. She's in everybody's mouth as far as got the world on fire as far as, I don't want to call it viral, but she is the buzzword of, let's say, the past few months. Now, she's no longer, I believe that she's done swimming, so we won't have to talk about Lia anymore. However, women, this is you all's problem. And this is actually, let me backtrack a little bit. This is for my counterparts on the left. This is all you're doing. And actually not just the left. Let me back up, because I don't want to blame just my folks on the left. This is the people that are on the far left pushing this bullshit on people. This is not diversity. This is not inclusion. You all are bullies. If people do not agree with what you all have to say, or believe that somebody believes that they feel like a woman a particular day, or for the rest of their life, you shame them. You try to cancel them. And you're worse than the people that you call bigots and transphobic. As long as My personal philosophy, I give the same respect to everybody that I encounter. I'm going to treat you I'm going to treat you better than you treat me. And if you want me to identify you as a cactus, a dog, a cat, a woman, a man, whatever you introduce yourself as, that's how I'm always going to treat you. Now, when it comes to certain things like using the bathroom and competing in sports, I think that those are two things that the far left has really run amok on. And I'm personally going to tell you all to go jump off a bridge. Not the transgender community or the LGBTQ plus community, but the people that are pushing this bullshit as far as we can't even have an open discussion about what's societal norms and what's changing without being called a bigot. Which leads me to my next point. This is not comparable to the Black Civil Rights Movement. I'm going to say it again. Your identification struggles or identity struggles is not anywhere near comparable to black people being lynched, hung, not given the ability to read, redlined, Jim Crowed, hosed, dogs attacking you, not able to ride in the front of the bus. It's not the same. At any given day, a transgender person, if they decide to, can decide to be their original gender. The general public wouldn't know. Me as a black man, I have been black since the day I was born. I will be black until the day that I die. When I am walking down the street, people see a black man. I don't have the ability to say, you know what? I think I'm gonna be about a 6'5" Chinese dude today. I'm gonna be a 5'10" white guy today with red hair. It's not how my life works. It's not an option for me. But I could say, hey, you know what? I am going to identify as a woman today and throw on a dress. And I'm not just trying to simplify transgenders as it's a flippant choice, but it's a huge slap in the face whenever you all compare civil rights to a transgender identity. I don't want to call it crisis because that's inappropriate for me to say, but your transgender identity. How about that? It ain't the same. So stop saying that bullshit because you lose allies whenever you do that. And for the record, I am an LGBTQ plus. I think that I've got all the acronyms. I'm an advocate as much as I can be. I'm not out there with signs and shit like that, and I will never do that. However, I'm all about equal rights for everybody. When gay people were fighting for the right to get married, I was definitely one of the people that said, yeah, gay people need the ability to be miserable inside of marriage as well. So let them have it. And it really didn't make sense why, if you could have a partner for, forever that you're essentially married to, why can't that person be on your insurance? It made absolutely no sense to me. And that was discriminatory. Now, not being able to compete against the opposite gender that you were born in is not discriminatory. That's common sense. And we've gone too far. And thanks to the NCAA, we're going to have to deal with this shit. So there's a clip where the parents were talking about the meet that Lia won, the national championship. And, she said that the parents at the meet were all in agreement that this was some bullshit. And if I would have been there, if I had spent all my money, well, I'm not going to say all my money. If I had had my child had made it to the nationals, I'm pretty sure that took a ridiculous amount of work on the student athlete, on the parent, on the coaches, not to mention the amount of money that is spent to get that child from where they were, from their parents' home, all the way to I'm assuming the swimmers were on a scholarship, to the nationals. So just imagine the amount of money that parents spent from the time that their child said, I want to learn how to swim, to I want to compete swimming, to, hey mom, we've got nationals this weekend, you and dad got to fly up. If you're going to that event after having devoted probably a nice portion of your life to your child. You want to see them succeed. You want to see them do their best, but you definitely want to see them succeed. You don't want to see that opportunity taken away from them by somebody who is not belonging in that competition. I really don't understand why we don't have a transgender league, because once again, this is not a problem with natural born women transitioning to men and then trying to compete with men in men's sports. This is only a problem for women. I'm going to say it again, ladies. This is only a problem for you. That goes for the right, and I know that the right, the conservatives, the Republicans, they've been screaming about this for a minute. The left, I'm not talking about the far left, just the left, has been far too complacent in letting the far left push the narrative for this bullshit. The left is going to lose a lot of support, because there's going to come a day when people, moderates, are going to look around and say, this isn't the America, this is the world that I want to live in. And the only people that are going to be able to offer a difference of opinion or a force to push back will be the right or conservatives. But I don't know if that's not what the far left wants. And when I say the far left, I'm talking about the people that will shout you down and don't want to have any discourse and call you a bigot and transphobic and whatever other buzzword they can come up with. So once again, ladies, I know the Me Too movement was a godsend for, we listen to all ladies. You all got Me Too'd by transgender women. How does it feel? You all actually got it done worse, because at least with Me Too, there's a process that you've got to go through. There's evidence, there's an accusation, then there's essentially discovery. It might be discovery in the public eye, but there's still some type of I don't want to say a trial, but in some instances there are trials. In other instances, you're just shamed publicly and fired or whatever. In this, the rules are actually changing to keep women out or keep women from actually competing. There was a young lady that I'm going to play a video clip of, and they were actually interviewing her. The young lady is talking about her friend, who I believe that she ranked 17th to qualify. Had she placed 16th, she would have made it to nationals. Lia took somebody's spot. Lia took a natural born woman's spot. So somebody's parents who devoted all that time, that money, the young lady who was competing, all that practice that she did, studying, to go to school, to remain on scholarship, to keep her scholarship, also while doing a physical activity and swimming. She didn't get the opportunity to showcase her skills because that's what Lia was born, a guy. And I know she's a transgender woman now, but Leah's going to have to get a prostate check when she hits about 40-ish. So a transgender woman with a 6'3" man's body took her spot. How do you explain that? How do you explain that to little girls that are in the audience watching their family members compete? When they see a bunch of women, young women, I don't want to trivialize females or anything like that, a bunch of young women, and then they see a 6'3" transgender man who dominates the field. Now, I know that people are going to say, well, yeah, she did end up losing, maybe 3 or 4 races. But do you really think that she lost because she didn't have the capability of winning? Or do you think that she lost because she was tired of hearing the bullshit? The bullshit that she helped to create because she decided to join the women's team after being on the UPenn men's team, where she was not even average at best. So once again, ladies, this is a woman problem. You all are going to have to handle this. This might be the thing that unites the country, the right and the left, to say, hey, no more of this. We're going to create a separate league, or, because I do not want for exclusion to happen as far as like you can't compete in anything. I just think that you need to compete against people that were born the same as you. If you got to get a prostate check, you need to be competing against people that got to get a prostate check. Like I said, and we ain't got to worry about it going the other way, because women are not transitioning to men to compete with men, because they would have absolutely no advantage and they would be embarrassed. And with that, that's how we're going to go on ahead and end this. So get involved in your local politics. If you've got kids, make sure that you're present and volunteering at the school. Make sure that you know everybody that you love. Make sure that they know that daily, because life is short. So you got to live it up.